It's biblical. This is hallowed ground. So when I say to you, I'm in a space where there may not be a Soulogy.
Welcome to Conversation for the Soul. I'm Linda Christine. Today, I talk with Soulogy's Todd Medina. How do you describe Todd? Todd is an amazing, authentic, down-to-earth soul. He is soul. I am soul. I love that about him. And we chat today a little bit about the Trinity energy, what we have been feeling coming in for, the year so far that seems like it's multiple years already. We talk about his new network and platform that he started, Soulogy Network, getting off all other social media, basically, and doing his shows that way. Todd is an amazing plethora of knowledge and wisdom, and it was such a joy to speak with him today. I think you're really going to like this show. Before we begin, please like, share, and subscribe. That's the way beautiful souls like Todd get their stories out there, and these stories are such amazing teachers. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and here we go with Todd Medina. Welcome. Todd is in the house. I like it because I can be goofy around you.
Of course. That's the whole thing.
Thank you for agreeing to do this today. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for asking me.
Yeah. You know, one of the biggest things that I'm just going to dive right into questions.
That's good.
If I step in any territory where you're like, yeah, I don't want to go there, just say you don't want to go there, because I'm a little bit brazen about that sometimes.
That's fine with me. You probably notice I am too on the show. I try to finesse things a little bit, but
yeah, that's hard to do sometimes. No, sometimes I'll be talking to people about your show and they'll go, are Todd and Morgan still living in separate countries? And it's like, yeah, wow, how do they do that? How do you do that?
Well, it's like everything else. It just kind of happened. I mean, it's I've always felt like you never take your eye off the ball. But so imagine going through, consciously multi-dimensional connections with another person and having biblical episodes or whatever you want to call it, which I'd had and she'd had individually, to have it with somebody else. Anyway, you get to a point, it's COVID. She hadn't been home. It was, that was 2021. So COVID started in 2020. She went back in April 2021. But it was higher guidance. It was everything, the human aspect. It was very difficult. Like everybody, we've had difficult challenges even as individuals. So, but I think,
how do you keep it going though? I mean, I'm very connected to my partner, and I can't. Yeah. I do like it when he's away, because he does go away frequently for work every couple weeks.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine being away from the love of my life that long.
Well, it wasn't really planned.
Right.
So
I think still away.
Yeah. Well, we're in the process. We've got things in process, like with immigration and that type of thing. But it's just first of all, you had COVID restrictions. I got to remember, I'm not on my show, so I don't want to be talking to get you censored. But the main thing is that at a higher level, at all the levels, we knew that it had to happen. Now, as time has gone on, we've gotten intel, regarding like the southern hemisphere, the northern hemisphere, things that were anchoring, opposite, it just so much high level stuff, which didn't make it easier on the human being, because this is I think both of us doing hardcore grid work on our own. But yeah, just, regardless of the physical separation, if that's what you want to call it. And I think that was part of the reason as well, is that in our template, in our contract, we're here to do certain things, and those things are tied into the mathematics or the geometry or the rhythms or the reweavings. I mean, we have a lot of history. So that's really ultimately what guided us. The humans, like all of us, gone through a lot of stuff, but how do we keep it? We just keep coming back to love, and it's some type of new coding, I think, like tightening up the trinity coding. And I believe that there'll be a physical reunification, but it's in this atmosphere of where all the world's crumbling and the magic works. Like, for instance, we should have had a automatic ban of 10 years because she overstayed the visa. Technically, when you have your papers in immigration, they tell you don't leave the country because it's a big hassle. But it was COVID, and all that stuff was going on. So we on March the 23rd, we received a letter that said, we just need this other document and you're approved. And then we got the petition approved, and now there's one other step where you get an interview. So I mean, things have always been moving along, but it's been at rapid pace, the ascension pace, or whatever you want to call this time that we live in, because it is getting faster and faster and faster. So, but I will say this, that 2023, and I can speak to me, I can speak to Morgan and I can speak to the collective, I feel, it's slowly, like January and February was like integration, like getting the haze off of you, like taking a bath, like just recovering. And then March, April, May have been extremely accelerative in their own right. They've had a kind of a common theme, and they've really blown up this month. And we could talk about the intel that comes through when she channels in the sessions, or what I pick up, what other people are saying, but it's very obvious that we've had a huge embodiment of our multidimensionality. And the reason I say this, to kind of tie up the question you had, is the level of the coding, awareness, perspective, wisdom, love, whatever you want to call it, is so high. There's no turning back. There's no turning it off. And I think it's brought her and I, and probably many others, like, wow, a little sigh of relief. It's not over yet. And you're still going to have your human moments, but man, this is real. Like the stuff that's happening to people, what's going on, their own channelings, their own communions, their own experiences, their own level of advancement in their skills and abilities, memories coming in. This is happening everywhere. And, everybody's got their story. I feel like I'm involved in the greatest love affair there ever was. It's just one little chapter.
You are. I hope you write a book about it. That would be amazing.
That was a bold question.
Let's talk about some of those abilities that are coming online. I know personally, I feel like my psychic awareness has been turned up to the max. It's like off the charts now. And just the things that I'm feeling and picking up in the collective are so intense, way more intense than they have been in the past. What kinds of things are you seeing, Todd?
Well, I can't, to me, it's like a whole different language. It's like a whole different math, whole different geometry, third eye's wide open. I mean, I'd go back to March the 1st, I woke up and, or whatever, and I said, there's stargates everywhere. Stargates are going to be appearing on the earth. I don't usually do stuff like that. 2 days later, Morgan, sees a stargate on her property where she's house sitting in the country.
I saw that.
And I had told her, you're going to see one on the property, and then all this other stuff started happening. Uh, I think there was in March, in April, March, there was, I think, maybe I don't want to say the last of the deep dives. There was another one in April. This time, and they keep getting softer, and we keep processing them faster. I think that's one of the skills and abilities that we might overlook. Like, give ourselves some credit. It's not just about telekinesis and teleportation and bilocation. It's about being a human being and actually figuring this stuff out and applying it. So I think that's kind of a superpower. I feel like it's also, like, for me, especially in these past few days, I feel this impending, looming, powerful, profound, reverent, wild, strange and frightening thing moving in. And I can feel it moving in within me, but I also can feel it out here. It's weird. I think there's some really intense energies hitting the earth right now. And I think we're ready for it. And the skills and abilities and, and the visions and the meditations and the connections, they're going to be there. But even that, to me, is happening in a different way. There's something happening inside of the body. And people talked about crystalline or carbon-based body to crystalline for a long, long time. And you hear a lot of these things over the years, right? And you're onto it because we're all not crazy. But some things you don't really ever think about. But this thing with the body has been coming online faster and faster and faster. And I think that's a superpower.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. I can see that. It seems like, I don't know if this is happening to you or not, but there has been this constant rebirth and death over and over and over again.
Oh, yes.
It's like, and then the other thing is, for the human is sleeping 16-hour days or being wired, to the ceiling because you're just full of energy or you have no energy.
Yeah, I've given up there, like, on the sleep pattern thing. I mean, I've got kind of a routine, and sometimes it'll go for 5 or 6 days, and everything will be, perfect, and then it'll be crazy for 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
What was the other thing that you said? Oh,
The rebirth and
the rebirth. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's that's been around for a while. To me, it has. I did a lot of that when I woke up for the first 2 years. I didn't do much else. I mean, that's what I dealt with a lot of stuff, and but that doesn't mean I didn't have more to do. What I've noticed now, as I'm sitting here in this present moment, which is as whole as I can be, I feel the same thing. It's a similar feeling. What I described, that power, that force, or that energy that I feel coming in within me and outside of me. But it feels like both at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's deep, 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 deep waters.
Mm. I noticed you and Morgan are doing a lot of session work, working through a lot of things. For people that are not familiar with what y'all are doing, how did those sessions come to be, and what have you been noticing as you've been going through them? Some of the big points that are coming out for you.
Well, really, since the first time we ever met, we've done this. And so, in fact, the first 17 months we were together, we consistently merged, in many ways. And but nothing, like, I never even saw her on a video until 2 weeks before I met her in person. So that was 17 months. Never pictures, nothing. It wasn't like any virtual dating, sending the nudies and all that. It was nothing like that. But you could say in a sense that we grounded the connection in that manner, so that when we came together, everything was incredibly enhanced. But the way so I think we might have put out a couple of things before. I mean, we did some things like publicly, like even like big like groups. Um, but I think, and this was right at the 1st of March, right when everything happened. And we were doing them, and we would record them, but we wouldn't put them out. And then we just knew all of a sudden, we got to put these out. And so there's been 33. We did the 33rd one last night, and I can tell you about what's come in, and I can tell you about what it's I guess you could say in a way meaning to me, what I see it for, what I saw in it last night, what I see it in it, see in it now, is this is kind of put before me. There's something about everything that we're all doing where no matter how you slice it, our light is becoming more and more out in the open. Our fields are becoming bigger. We're being seen for who we are. And so it's not always the words, it's not always the visual, it's the energy of the people. And I think it's I think that was a great question that you asked me at the beginning. because I think this might be what I was seeing last night in the 33rd session that we were guided to put out. And that's not the only way, but that's one way that we come to love. That's one way that we connect. And it's two people sharing it at the guidance of their higher self souls. So somewhere in there's a code that supersedes whatever the hell I think. Any thoughts of romance, not that it's not there. Any storybook, any fairy tale that just as important. There's something that you guys agreed to do that you have some memory of, that you're actually getting it done and doing it through it all. And for me, it just I see it as like, as the individual goes, so goes the collective. So you've got two people here. She's like a Ascension reporter channel, and there's just this thing, and we just put it out, and it's full of code that's in between the words, that's just in the frequencies, right? So as the individual goes, so goes the collective. As goes the couple, so goes the collective. I think it's just a mirror of you and your partner, as you're a mirror of me and us. And I believe this stuff is going down all over the place. But at the same time, we're dying, and you got to be and there's a bit of but maybe less a test to things. Well, let me test you just a little bit more. Remember this old memory?
So through those sessions, I mean, it sounds like March 1st was a big shift for you. And through those sessions, and just in connecting with folks on your show and everything, what are some of the big things that you're seeing this year that are different in the collective, in the way things are shifting?
Well, okay. So in January, I told Morgan that I got this download that this year is going to be the same pattern as last year. And everybody knows last year was like it was like going up on a roller coaster into May or June, and then going like and then all over the place. It was a wild ride. It was the end of that 10-year Mayan thing. But I told her that what I understood is that we'd be more balanced. And so for me, it was March 1st, and we're still in the old Soulogy platform, and all of a sudden out of nowhere comes, you got to get off social media now. So within 10 days we do that. And the Stargate stuff came in on the 1st. We start doing the sessions. Now we're trying to come out of the blocks. There's like a huge, like, first 2 weeks, and then it just like that. And all this energy's going on a personal level. Everything's just blast off. March. Then comes April. Same thing. Then comes May. Same thing, but bigger. Almost like the third and final one. Bam. Right? And I'll talk about that. But as far as experiencing that, like in the matter you laid out, like through the show, through this early evolution of the new Soulogy, and contending with what we all contend with, and then contending with what you asked about at the top of the show about Morgan and I, how do we do it? So all that's going on. The people the conversations that I'm having on the show are fewer, and I'm not trying to do anything. I'm loading up some right now. I've got some good ones coming up and more, but it's the quality, it's the substance, it's the humanness, it's the non-agenda, it's the realness. It's, people use the word authentic, the rawness, it's buck naked to the soul, right? I mean, it's like we're being humbled if we will listen and look. We are being humbled by our own grace, this is mind-blowing to me. And the multidimensionality has been increasing, through this first, hugely. The telepathy, the empathy, the real empathy, not just I'm an empath, but like you really feel the other person. You hold on to wisdom or information or knowledge and don't share it, because you are empathic, and you know that there's a chance that this person could get offended, even though that's not what it means. Things like that. So and for me, this has been the biggest one. So we started, this is the 23rd, I'd say probably 3-4 sessions ago. And I'll probably miss some of this. Now, at the same time, in 2018, the year that we had our sacred union ceremony, we were in Georgia, staying in a sister's spare bedroom with a framed picture of the keys of Enoch on the wall, and Pleiadian all over it, and a bunch of stuff happened there that's associated with that. And we had some incredible things happen, including aspects appearing in the room, and there's just a lot of stuff. So now here we are, and I don't know this. It's a Pleiadian gateway from, I want to say, around the 17th, 18th, all the way to the end of the month. The 7 sisters. And so we're in there, and I won't go into all the details. I mean, you can listen to the sessions, but we're in there, and we're in this circular room, and I'm walking against one wall, and she's walking against the other wall, and we're in the session. And I say, I feel it on my right side. Something's trying to, like, and she's like, I feel it on my left side. So what we figured out was we're both on the opposite side of the room, trying to show the other one how to find their way through the masculine way or the feminine way. And they said, turn around and face each other. And we turn around, and there's this column of light, this incredible, it's not light, but it's like water and light. And I don't know how to explain it. I could see her eyes. We walk towards each other, go in, and you just immediately, I was her, I was me, I was everything. She described it like being dropped into an ocean, and it turned out to be Pleiadian. And they say a lot of stuff, you know. She, we both kind of feel like the importance is the coding, but the story is pretty strong. I mean, it feels strong. It felt like home. It felt comfortable. It felt a lot of ways. So we try to spend some time in that space now. But as we understand it, that's part of our grid, and these are like our parents, right? But to me, that's just a one couple story of what's going on right now. And we got a community that is made up of people that have crazy stories for their entire lives, and you're one of them. And that's what's brought us together. It's not any other type of support. It's actually a congealment. It's a natural phenomenon. And I think now we go deeper. Now we talk about what's going on right now. Because we don't have to tell the old stories because the stuff is happening now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's everywhere. You look at people's photographs and stuff's coming out in their photographs. I mean, this has been going on a while, but now it's everywhere. I even turn on, not really much anymore, but just not mainstream, but mainstream internet platforms and stuff. It could be someone like Charlie Freak or whatever his name is, and people like that. And I notice on those shows that even though they have all the Q stuff and this and that, and the us against them thing, they're talking about this awakening. They're talking about the world is shifting into a higher state of awareness. It's pretty trippy.
Yeah. 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 And then there's still that craziness, the darkness going on underneath at the same time. I was watching something a couple months ago and commercials were involved. And I finally just said to Greg, you got to mute the commercials or something. I felt like something was coming at me, physically hitting me in my brain. It's nuts. And I don't like going there, but then, it's there. So I observe it. And it's like, what the heck, man? When are they just going to throw in the frickin' towel? Because I really don't think they're making any headway.
No, they're not. I mean, it's not. And like the thing with the commercials or so many other things, encounters with people. I mean, I went into a coffee shop last week and I was standing outside and I got this whole thing, almost like two big demons behind me telling me, get out of there. Like the force was so strong that I needed to leave.
Wow.
I think what's part of what's happening is we are another thing, because we think of these superpowers, but they're coming in subtly, but the higher sensitivities with even our five senses. And a lot of people have talked about that in the last couple of weeks, talking about having a keener sense of smell, or somebody else it was their sight or their taste or their lactate and all this different stuff. But and that being that we're more sensitive to those things that are not in resonance with us. We're being educated. We're being kind of like pushed towards like begets like. I think you see that. You see it on the internet. You see tribes. You see monadic gatherings, even if it's 2, 3, 8 people. I look at Soulogy. I don't even. Stay with me on this because I'm just wide open, transparent, and what I mean by that is this is another thing that's happened. The energy for me since March has been one that gives me a feeling inside myself, which is the same as when I first woke up and walked the streets for 2 years. It's biblical. This is hallowed ground. So when I say to you, I'm in a space where there may not be a Soulogy. You know, you can look at that statement, and you can look at it a lot of ways, but that's me. You know, I am human, I am soul, I am one. That's me going to honor the Trinity energy. That's me. That's you. You know, that's me. That serves equally. Because one thing we've learned is we can never serve in the Trinity energy if we're depleting ourselves. Now, the reason I say this is because it's also a testament of my faith. Nothing, how can you detach from anything if everything is connected? It's just, maybe you have a different relationship. Maybe Soulogy turns into a billion-dollar philanthropic perfect creation in some alternate universe. And I'm sure there's all kinds of things playing out. But I think we're in a space now where we will get to oneness, and whatever it takes. If we can't have the right balance of connectivity with anything, let me restate that. Whatever it takes, if you have to lose everything to find it, then that's what will happen. I think that's why you see, you know, catastrophic scenarios, or whether they're metaphoric or literal, like the flood and all that. We're a higher level being. We have the ability to instantly quantum thought create, quantumly. People may say I'm crazy. People may say, where did you go to college? But I know a bunch of people, and you're one of them, all tapping into this, and we all have little pieces of information, and we're all walking, talking Akashic records. We're getting into a space where we're no longer trying to prove who we are so everyone can know our glory. We're just knowing this wisdom. We're knowing this love now. We're it's familiar, it's home, and we're just being ourselves. You know, I mean, I know it sounds light and cliche, but being yourself in the human form in the year 2023, after all these incarnations, hats off. No matter what happens. No matter what happens.
Yeah, authenticity is so needed right now. When you were talking, I started thinking, you know, I wonder if duality is ever going to go away. Because part of me is thinking this planet is duality. It needs to be that way. And maybe somehow we will rise above it, and it'll only, you know, the perceived negative parts of it may only be shown to us as a hologram at some point and have very little effect on us. But maybe duality will go away. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean,
I know it's a loaded question.
No, it's not. No, I think it's a great question. Yes, great questions. I feel like, you know, I'm off planet talking to you, but at the same time, I'm totally zoomed in with you. Part of me says anything that's out there never goes away. That's how I feel about AI. You know, people talk about AI. I'm like, well, what am I? Technically, if I made, you know what I mean? So chicken and the egg, I made in the image of what? I believe we're in a construct. People can call it a simulation. I believe we do this. This is part of what souls do or can do, and go through different experiences. And I believe we have a soul signature. I don't think this particular realm, or at least the last, you know, I don't know, 12,000, 15,000 years, I think it was like in a class of its own. And it's been a hell of a ride. And it's kind of like we're coming into a coronation in the energetic field. But it's wisdom. I think of all the shadow that duality created. I mean, we're talking about, imagine a ball of yarn the size of the earth, and that's all tangled. That's what the hell we've just unraveled, or, and again, what have we done? Unraveled it and put it back in its perfect formation, right? Its perfect design. I don't know that we're going back to our original design. I think that it's a strong possibility that we're going back to a remix of the technology of our original design, because we have the knowledge of when it was then to when it is now, right? So will it go away? I believe yes. There is at a minimum a strong minority in this world of souls and soul complexes, both incarnated and not, that are carrying such a high frequency that it'll be like watching a commercial. It's happening. It's not win, lose. It's not good, bad. It's just happening. And I think a lot like this. And I have these conversations because my voice is heard just like yours is. We're all heard. And so I say to them, what's going on here? I'm tired. She's tired. We're tired. We have busted our asses. And let's get this thing going. Not because we're in a hurry to get it over with, but we're tired. We know the good things coming, 2,000 years, whatever it is. We're better for it. But it's been a long burn. And I believe we're on the other side now. And when I talk to them and what I'm seeing, you ask me, what are you seeing out there with people you talk to and when I pop in places? I'm seeing everybody's intel converging. It's becoming more and more obvious. They're saying the same thing in a different way, in a different narrative. Judgment is in a certain element. Judgment is going away. Compassion is going up. This is the code. The code is not, what the Pleiadians handed down to us. It's that plus our memories, plus our journey. The code is, okay, now we have all this information. How do you weave this back in and come out, as I understand it, as good or better than, you might say, how our original blueprint? But I don't, duality. Well, Franco described it as this: you have an organic 3D matrix, which is polarity, with a lot of contrast, and the play of dark and light can happen. But 12, 15,000 years ago, one of our contemporary groups decided to raise the ante, and it went bananas.
That it did.
Yeah. But I think, again, isn't that a brilliant design?
It makes life interesting, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, and going back to that first question too, there's a part, I don't live by my human fear overall for a long time. That doesn't mean I don't get scared at times. I'm a bit scared now. But what I'm saying is that if I just look at my own life, we're not even considering 4,200 episodes of Soul Speaks 5Ds and however many people that was, my life since May the 30th, 2011, at 1:11 in the morning, has been a full-blown miracle. It's been a fairy tale. It's had witches. It's had fairies. It's had everything. It has the queen and the king and the story and the saga. But I know a lot of people like that. And there is a thread of the miraculous, magical, just it's a beautiful thing, and it's real, and it runs, from that, that heart, that now more so the heart, but like that equilibrium of it all. And so I look at my circumstances, if I were afraid of this world, and say, how in the hell are we ever going to get together? And then if I even go there, I just take a breath and go, the same way that you got this far. Because it's not just serving them. In our example, it's serving more than them. And it just goes on. And all of us are the same way, especially we're two and we're gathered.
It does seem like there's going to be a split of some sort, because let's use your story as an example. I can see all the magic in your story. I can see the galactics. I can see the elementals. I can see the beautiful evolution that's taken place. But you put that story in front of someone else and they look at it and go, wow, he's a crazy man.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of must be cuckoo in the head or something. Those two worlds can't really exist that much longer together. But yet I don't know how that would even play out. I mean, I don't need to know how it would play out, but for the sake of conversation, it's kind of fun to think about. How do you think that might play out?
Well, there's a couple ways to look at that. One is Sandra Walter says you can either walk towards the new earth, thoughts, words, and actions, or you can turn around and watch the old one burn. I love that. The other thing I would say is there are things being done. Okay, let's use Morgan and I as an example. There's a lot of reasons that we've been able to do what we've been able to do. And magic that I spoke of earlier, and the miraculous thread that I spoke of earlier, doesn't mean you always feel good. It doesn't mean you don't project on your partner. It doesn't mean you don't have the normal human stuff and all that. Right? But when you have just two people that make a choice to physically separate, and love is at the root, and that remains, you're basically, I mean, think about the energy of that. Even from the human psyche, with all of our abandonment issues and all the bull, and it prevails. And it prevails. That's beyond physics. That's something that creates something that becomes visible to certain people and not to other people. And what I mean by that is, think of it like we're walking around and we're at a conference and there's 1,000 people. We're in a time when I feel that you might have 15 people over here in the corner that do the Mayan thing, a few 100 years ago or whatever it was, where that whole Mayan village just disappears. because everybody ascended together. Did they really leave, or did they just move into a filament of light body that most people couldn't see? So I would say that the bifurcation that people talk about has occurred. It didn't occur one time. It occurred like everything else that we're starting to figure out in a multiplistic way. Every day, all day, every life, every everything. So I guess another way I would say it is it's all moving so fast. We're not even going to have time to ask the question anymore. We're just going, what? It's a wild, beautiful ride, and maybe we all are just crazy.
Yeah, and it seems like I had an experience a couple weeks ago. There's a well-known grocery store chain down here that starts with the letter P, and they're all about service, all about making the customer happy. That's it. I literally checked out in the grocery line without the checkout guy even acknowledging me. It was the most bizarre thing I'd ever seen. It was like he was still wrapped up with the guy who was ahead of me as he's doing my stuff and checking me out, and I grabbed my bags from the bagger who was kind of in La La Land too, and it's like, what just happened there? Something transpired to where I became invisible. But yet part of me was still there, but most of me was invisible because I wasn't even acknowledged, barely.
Yeah. And people, we were just talking about that on one of the last couple of shows, going out in public and that happening. Or even like going into Target over here, or I haven't been in a Walmart in a while. It's the first time I ever saw it, though, where you can't check out with a checker. And there's this long line of people going around the aisles to self-checkout and self-bag, And I was in this one over here, the one that starts with an H. And I checked out and then got my bags, start walking out. And the guy's like, "Sir, you need to take your buggy outside." I'm like,
You working for him now?
I said not a nice light worker word. I'm like, that's some bull, But yeah, so you have that. I think for most of us, we pick our spots. And if you have, if you're with your partner, and Morgan and I, if I'm not on the show or working or sleeping, then we're talking pretty much on camera. So whatever your routine is, I think we pick our spots to go in the public. And if you're, kind of like sharing your life, that makes it a bit easier at times.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd much rather be in nature than in any city. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was concerned.
I was just curious. When was the last time you connected with Franco? Because I feel like he's been around you quite a bit.
Yeah. The last time I connected with him was on, what's today? Because it was what I was telling you about earlier. It was, let's say this. It was March 1st, and then there was another kind of March 1st type of kick, and that was last Friday. So that would have been the 11th. Oh, no, I'm sorry, the 12th. The 12th. So on the 12th, on the 11th, Morgan and I did some deep session, and I didn't know what happened. And then I got this energy came in. I thought I was going to die. And then all this stuff happens on that Friday from the moment I get up. I had this huge day, like the biggest day I've ever had in my life. It was just, it was incredible. The third eye, the psychic stuff, the downloads, the transmissions, the feeling, the body, and all the human stuff that happened. Some crazy stuff happened. Matrix stuff happened. But it wouldn't stick to me. Things that people would really freak out about. So, ended up going for a walk. And I had I had I had gone. I won't get into all that. I go for a walk. I get myself a coffee, and I'm sitting at a picnic table, and he appears on the other side of the picnic table, and he's just laughing, which is most of the time I see him. He's laughing. Now and then his eyes are more serious, and he's giggling like a kid. He's in his stature that he was. He's kind of like just laughing like a little kid. And I said, well, the last time you showed up like that, I was being escorted from Arkansas to Houston. And my attitude then was, okay, man. He's like, oh, you did it. You did it. This is when I'm in the Tahoe thing. He's like, you did it. We knew you could do it. We knew you could do it. I'm sitting there, cuffed ankles and hands and I'm on it. So I'm not like pissed off or nothing. I'm like, yeah, man. But you know what? All right. I wasn't, but this time it was different. This time I got hit so hard from the downloads that when I sat down, I saw him laughing. I was like, what are you doing? I wasn't like, I knew he was laughing with me. And what he was laughing about was another, I guess you would say, another breakthrough. Oh, you did it. Like when we kicked off the new Soulogy, he came in and said that. He came in and said, you did it. You did it. We knew you could get it, so I see these as energetic messages, right? So he didn't really say much. And then the next thing I know, I looked again and he was on the ground laughing, like holding his belly. And I said, what's going on? He said, man, because of the fact that you just like, I guess, you kind of like raised your frequency to where, I guess that's, like the way you connect to guides and stuff like that, you're raising, they're coming down, something like that. He said, I was able to, because of whatever had to be right, alignment, whatever, I could step into your shoes. And in like the last 20 seconds, I just lived your entire life as Todd Medina. And he was laughing. He's like, oh my God, I can't believe you're crazy. And he was like, I'm so glad that I was able to do that because I wasn't able to do it in my body. So that was the last time I talked to him. I mean, yeah, I probably, for me, it's not like, it's more feelings, although I see things, but to me, it's like, I don't know how many times, this has happened, but it seems like there's more. It's more like Franco in the Gang. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Like
I feel that too with a lot of things lately. For those that don't know Franco, he had a podcast too. What was the name of it again?
Advancing Consciousness.
Yeah. So you could look that up on YouTube. Oh, such deep wisdom. Amazing.
Yeah,
wisdom.
him and Kimberly did an incredible job with that. They absolutely did. In fact, we're going to load up the whole thing onto the new network on that page.
Oh, nice. Yes. Let's talk about that, Todd. Tell me. I mean, you've done something pretty amazing here. You've had this thought of starting your own network with Soulogy, getting off all the other BS platforms, and you did it. That's amazing. That's amazing. Where are you going next with it?
I haven't the slightest. Well, I think it's fair to say I haven't the slightest idea. Because it's what it is at this point is constructed with the new, like the trinity component. So as I think we're all discovering, the way this stuff proliferates is by allowing it to, work in harmony with you. I downloaded, on a personal level, some specific things over the years, but at the base of it is really a divine union frequency. You know, it's the mother, father, child. It's that, and that's what it's made of. Not just Todd and Morgan. It's just the people. You know, everybody. So the energetic part of it is done. It's you could say in a way, Soulogy has gone through a transformation, has transcended. To go from 125,000, people on our platforms to a powerful 411. Now, typical business would tell you go do this and go do that and go do this, but this is energy. I'd like to do some stuff, but the energy has to be right, and that means everybody has a voice. And I don't know how to build it. This is new code, and I know one thing: I don't build it. Now, the way I would kind of conclude all that is, as in this transitional, 3D to 5D, whatever, duality, no duality to trinity construction, however you want to put it. It looks to me like there's four things. There's Soulogy content, right?
What like you used to have on YouTube.
Yeah, like a standalone. Like say it's the Soulogy Facebook, Soulogy YouTube, Soulogy old webpage, all in one place, like Soulogy Main Street. So the Soulogy feed, or you could look at it this way: channel 1, 2, 3, and 4 running 24 hours a day, as as an extrapolation of what Soulogy's done as an energy. Okay. 2, you've got the social community, which to me will be the biggest driver in the long run.
Yeah.
Again, built by the people, customized by the people, no matter how long it takes, no matter what it takes. Don't get in a rush, just let it flow. And this is the kind of energy that I've been exposed to since this has started. The third thing would be the database. Now, the database is huge. To have a unique, non-censored, high frequency database with tech capability, that's an amazing thing. It's like the Library of Alexandria. And then I think the fourth thing would be, forgot what the fourth thing was. Oh, well, the fourth thing would be the tech itself. And we've got some pretty good partners, a divine couple with sacred union couples on their staff. And this is, this is kind of what I'm seeing. But I think for now, for me, I've realized that the social community is going to take a little while. Divine timing is divine timing. So without depleting myself in this new Trinity energy, I need to load up. This is Todd talking to Todd. My contribution, not Linda's, not Morgan's, not Christie's, not our people in Canada, not anybody but Todd, is to steward the program. So if all I can do is do 1 or 2 shows a day, 6 days a week, and that's all the energy I have, then I'm going to have to live and die with that. But we got a long way to go, and we could drive subscriptions very easily, but we want to make sure that we have, things to a point where it's going to be fluid. So in the meantime, content. So that's what I'm going to focus on. I won't mention any names, but I've been talking to some people. I just set up another few interviews and some really, people that have come on, the bigger name people that have come on before that we're kind of known for. And it's been a long time since we caught up with them. So this next, I don't know, probably the next 2 to 4 weeks is going to be pretty good content coming out of Soulogy.
Awesome. Awesome. So if anybody's looking for it, they can find you on soulogynetwork.com, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there's a few different subscription options available.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's an annual and there's a monthly. Yeah. And yeah, it's that was a big deal too. It was like a whole value thing. That's been an interesting thing too. It's like people, I don't know. For me, it's like I don't have any charge, but I remember starting the Soulogy group and having 200, 300, 400 people, right? I remember every step of the way. I don't know how this new energy works. I have a feeling it works more exponentially. But I look at it like this. We're like, are we the bees or the honey? Because either way, we can't go wrong. But that's kind of how we operate. We're just pollinating each other, and we created a nice energy, and people will come. But the main thing is, it's in the energetic field. It's been an influence in many ways to people. It's been an influence in shows being developed by people, groups, events, movements. It's not Todd, it's not Morgan, although that's been an influence in the energetic field. Many people say, you made me believe in love again, so, yeah. And then, I feel like energetically, if I ask the universe, how many souls have we touched? I believe it would be in the tens of millions. But that's just my truth.
No,
yeah, that's where you can find us.
I would agree. You're an amazing teacher. Teachers live by example, and the example that you've been sharing with everyone over these years is simply amazing.
Well,
We appreciate you.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. And I'm more of just bringing people together. I know I have things that, to share and say, whatever. And this is really, I'm trying to be very transparent without, because I'm right there on the edge. I don't know what's going to happen with Soulogy. I don't, it kind of was like going into a vacuum, and it's, I've put out a lot of effort, and so I don't know if I can sustain it anymore. If I've got to rebuild from the ground up my part of it, I don't know. I see it more of like a team, but how does that organize? But what I was getting at is, I just saw a great vision of a white pyramid with these incredible steps. What is this?
Keep going.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, it just showed me like this four-sided pyramid that was kind of like the pyramids, like kind of brown and dusty, And then as I looked at it, it kind of like shrunk, and then it flew up, and then it was this really, really ornate, fine, silky white pyramid. Really, really nice. What I was going to say, yeah. See, here we go with the dying and the birthing at the same time. What I was going to say and what that vision was I'm okay either way. I'm okay either way. I have one human, where I say, I don't care what you say. I'm in this incarnation. I'm going to be with that woman. All right. Because I know that's my place, and I know that's her place. And I know we know, whatever. I think we have freedom, which I think is different, as Lisa Harrison says, than free will. But I think we have freedom as humans in every moment. And freedom is trinity energy. You can't, love is free. So
Yeah.
Beautiful. I feel like I just got off a rocket ship.
I appreciate you, Todd. Thank you so much for conversing with me today.
Yeah, I dig the openness, and I'm trying to be transparent as much as I can and respect my private life and stuff.
Are. And you want to share anything with anybody before we say goodbye? Like they can find you?
Well, yeah, you can go to Soulogy Network.com and you can sign up. You don't have to subscribe, and you can kind of see the content. Yeah, there's some stuff happening there, but I'm kind of like past the point of talking about it all. I trust the energy,
Yeah.
I trust it. The word will get out as we have upgrades and upgrades. People will come in. My job is just to try to put the best content out I can.
And you do.
All right. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.